It's really wonderful to finally see Captain Dr. Danisha Bharadwaj. She's a wonderful person, and I'm really impressed actually with LinkedIn profile. And I approached her, and she's quite humble that she accepted my invitation at the same moment. So I'm really, really thankful. Ma'am, actually, a web platform for dialogue is a forum where we are going to launch series of webinars as well as in our website. If you visit our website, you can able to see so much of people who are actually into this field of expertise from multidimensional approaches in studies. It could be on social science, it could be on arts, sciences, other basic science. So basically, what we are planning to do, we are going to provide them a single platform where they can provide the webinar series as well as the publication opportunities. In the website we will publish different type of articles altogether. It could be related on COVID-19 issues. It could be related on any dialogue sessions. A dialogue means where we actually share our free of thoughts without any kind of judgmental comments. Sometimes people are not actually willing to say something because they are afraid that so many judgmental comments will come. So we are giving the opportunities to free flow sharing of dialogue. So I welcome you is webinar series 18 in the month of June. Captain Dr. Dinisha is an ex-commissioned officer of Indian Army. After serving for 10 years in uniform and being part of active military operations in various field and peace locations across the length and breadth of the country, she switched to education as second innings of her career, presented papers in national and international seminars, workshops, different aspects related with education, part of state board curriculum review, and being part of SSA, Southeast Asia, and North, and of course Northeast Asia. She had been honored with various prestigious awards for her leadership and innovation, along with her service to the society. While working with a few NGOs, of course, wonderful NGOs, she has been already related with all of them. An adventure freak, she has done paragliding, wonderful. Paragliding is and rock climbing, camel expeditions and across borders in desert, trekking in hilly areas, while water rafting, river rafting in Gangas. And few to mention aside with her passion had been anchoring events it and some she also worked as casual announcer with All India Radio Shillong. She enjoys being a motivational and leadership trainer, and her contributions to academic are equally fascinating. She is a postgraduate in electronics, PhD in education, MBA and few graduate along with diploma in education management, highlights her insight and love to learning. Currently, she is in Malaysia and she is heading in international school in Malaysia. So I welcome Captain Dr. Dinisha Bharadwaj for his wonderful discussions on the topic of situational leadership in the era of COVID-19, how we will deal with this. So the floor is now with Dr. Denisha. I request to raise your question in the chat box, and after finishing her entire discussions, we will definitely give you the opportunity to share your questions, your reviews, your observations. Ma'am, the floor is here for you.
Thank you so much. I'm really humbled. And though introduction has been done, but informally, I would like to interact for a minute before I actually take it on to the topic. Let only me be serious, and the rest of us should be in receiving, and so that we are happily receiving what we are conversing. It is not one unidirectional flow. I'm there to learn. I'm a passionate learner, and I'm there to share what I feel and learn from you as well. With this, I take on my topic, situational leadership in COVID-19 era. Well, when we talk about leadership, being an officer from Indian Army, leadership was another side of the coin with us. Because as military leaders, as military personnel, we are supposed to be taking over this responsibility of being a leader. Why? Because, in any field, whether it is field of education or field of business or entrepreneurship, we look for appraisals. We motivate people so they have something to look up to. But in military, we motivate people to come and die. So with that level of high inspiring leadership, it automatically comes up to that level. And there I am before you to share some experiences and connecting those experiences to situational leadership, which is actually a management funder, and then coming to ground level, connecting it to this era, so-called era of 2, 3, 4 months or 5 months, which we have started naming as COVID-19 era. Well, friends, I'll take it like this. First, I'll talk about what leadership is, though we all know, but we need to connect. We need to be on one platform to understand. Then I'll tell you, or I'll just try to make all of us understand, including myself, to connect as to what is situational leadership. And then we'll come to the main concern, the topic, how do we use any kind of leadership, or for that matter, situational leadership to this COVID-19 era. This concept of situational leadership, as we study in management, has been brought up by Paul Hersey and Ken Winter. Now, what is this situational leadership? As managers, there's a little difference between a manager and a leader. As managers, when we need to complete the task assigned to us or to move towards a level of success, there we need to find out the best possible solution by analyzing the given situation and then bringing it out to a level where the best output can be received. Now, who's a leader? A manager tries to manage, but a leader sways the crowd. And lot we might be reading, because I think, talking to the August gathering, where we are reading and understanding, and since childhood we are speaking on leadership. Somebody she says leaders are made, somebody says leaders are born, but I strongly accept and submit that it can also be nurtured within us. Now, when we analyze a situation, when we move inside a situation to analyze it, when I'm talking about situational leadership, we find two kind of major situations, or two kind of individuals for that matter. These two kind of individuals are one who know the things and other one who don't know the things. Friends, I'm just trying to connect to situational leadership, who know the thing and who don't know the things. And amongst, in the later part of the crowd, these two parts are further connected to they know and they are motivated, and they know and they are not. They don't know, but they still are motivated, and they don't know, but they are still not motivated at all. So, coming on to these two parts, how do we analyze situational leadership? I'll just highlight four major parts of situational leadership, and then I'll hand it over to you to frame your questions while I keep connecting to it as to how do we use this situational leadership to whether COVID-19 era or any situation which comes our way, or any, if I may use the word, problem which comes our way. I'll give an example. Wherever you are, suppose a flux of people come unexpected. How do you handle them? This is a question. We'll tackle it at end of the session. Or another situation is that lot of work to be done by team. When I say team, it is a team assigned to you, which will have mixed kind of individuals. So these two questions are in your kitty. We'll discuss it at end of the session once we understand what is this situational leadership. Coming on to various categories. Situational leadership by who gave birth to this form of leadership was classified in 4 major parts. I will not tell you directly those parts, but we'll talk about again connecting to various people. I talked about 4 categories: people who know, who don't know, and then 2 further categories: know and not motivated, know and motivated, don't know and not motivated, and don't know but still are highly motivated. Now there are people, one category of people, these are not experienced, they are novices, but they have graceful amount of commitment. So if you need to lead these people to take out whatever output you have to, what are you going to do? You are going to direct them, you are going to tell them, you're going to inform them. So this type of situational leadership is known as either directing or telling. Coming on to second situation, where there are people, first category was they were novice. Second category is when they have some competence level, but then commitment level is little low. How are you going to tackle them? In that case, probably you will motivate them a bit. You can guide them or coach them towards your output. So this is second level of situational leadership, which is in a very common term, which is known as selling. Selling means motivating someone to buy your concept. Third one is there are people who are holding high level of competence, but again, the level of commitment is not as desired. How are you going to tackle such people? To take care of such people, they have high level of competence. So you got to support them a bit because the commitment is there, but commitment is less, but competence is high. So this is called participating or supporting kind of situational leadership. Last category, they have best of both. Best of both, when I say, they have high level of competence and high level of commitment. This is the best group anyone can have to lead. And in this group, you've got to just delegate the responsibility and supervise. Just give them some work or whatever work you want to assign to them, and then wait for the output. I'm sure the best output will come. Ladies and gentlemen, at fourth phase of this interaction, we will use all these into the situation given to us or we are all in, that is COVID-19 era. Now, before I start talking on situational leadership in COVID-19, let us start talking about it in normal life situations. How will you use this? In a normal life situation, which are not business situation. The people are not your subordinates. People are not a group of people whom you are going to manage. These people are interacting with you in day-to-day life. They are your peers, they are your colleagues, they are in your surroundings, because management and leadership is required at every level. In fourth phase, I will come down to a point where even we ourselves need to manage ourselves. That level of leadership we need to develop. So what do we do? What is the basic requirement? First, I think we all should agree, that is commitment. Commitment towards anything we aspire and we do. And another major thing here is flexibility. As a leader, we cannot afford to be rigid. In any circumstance, what come may, We cannot afford to be rigid. We got to have flexibility. And then, of course, desired competence level, which is a must to be a winner in every kind of situation. Now, when we talk about usage of these qualities of situational leadership in daily life, how do we take care of our surroundings? How do we influence our peers? And how do we come out with best of output in our surroundings, which I'm sure all of us are facing at each and every step and point of our life. How does it work? I'm sure it is getting little monotonous. So I'll put another question to your kitty. Please remember, 2 questions are already there. Before you start asking questions, I'm handing over more questions to you. So another question is, how does it work in our daily routine? We all have peers. Somewhere they are not supporting to us. Somewhere, they are not letting us move forward. I'll just quote one example to make situation little lighter. There was a person who was told to carry crabs from one place to another place, and he filled the crabs in a jug and started moving. So other one said, "Come on, you are carrying live crabs, and then you have to take them from one position to another position. How are you going to take them? They will all jump out of it, and you will carry the empty jug." He said, "No, friends, the best part of these crabs is that one moves up, the other one pulls it down." I think in normal lives also this kind of thing happens, isn't it? I mean, I don't know how do we put it across, but it does happen. So this crab race, we got to lead this crab race with situational leadership. We got to tackle those people so that they do not pull us down, rather they hold our hands and move along with us. There comes the need of situational leadership. So as I said, what do we need? Competence, commitment, and most important is flexibility. Let everyone around us feel that he or she is very important for us. Let everyone feel that you or me, every me is of great usage to that person. Then only person will not pull you down. Otherwise, if the person will feel that there is a threat of you being around him, a crab will pull down another crab and we'll all remain in that jug. So that is what it is required in normal day-to-day lives. A sip of water, and then I will connect to COVID-19. COVID-19 era. COVID-19 era. Oh my God, a virus has created an era, isn't it? And we all are really getting so much of impact of it that we have started feeling depressed. A virus, in biology, when we used to study that, we used to study that viruses cannot be seen by naked eyes. But this is the learning for us. This is learning for lifetime for everyone, that nothing is small, nothing is insignificant, provided you take care of things, provided you weigh the worth of a thing, whether positive or negative, and then move forward. COVID-19 era, when did it start? It started from January, December, but we were taking it very lightly. Even much before that, I think October, November only started coming up, all this small little number of cases and all. We thought, oh, it's like flu coming, going. So many such things came up before. Then it started increasing. We thought, oh, it cannot happen to me. I mean, I am taking good care of my health and hygiene. It is not going to impact me. And that is how this little virus started feeling more powerful. It thought, hey, these human beings, they are happy in themselves. Let me defeat them. How it came and all, I'm not going to go into those details. But that teaches us that nothing is insignificant. Now, this era, actually, this era started when probably the lockdown was announced, when we were pulled out of normal routines, isn't it? We all were locked down. We all were forced to lock down inside our houses. and then we called it COVID-19 era. Now let us honestly analyze what was this COVID-19 era. What were the impacts? Let us analyze the situation. What were the related problems? Problems probably were, I remember, I was here in this thing. I never took so serious note of it. And the next day I was told that previous night all the malls and grocery shops were flooded and no grocery left in market. So I was kind of threatened. I was counting what all I have at home to survive. And then I also rushed next day. So what was the actual impact? We were striving for higher order needs. We were striving for achievements. We were striving for a lot of enrichment as far as money and other things are concerned. Ultimately, we came down to what? Basic needs of health, safety, and food. Can we understand the impact? Now, when we analyze, if you Google the impact of COVID-19, you know what you will see? You will see impact of COVID-19. People are suffocated inside the houses. Mental health is being affected. We are depressed. We are so worried. What next generation? Our children are depressed. All those things. Is it the real impact? Are we really impacted onto that level? Friends, the real impact is on those people who were earning daily wages, whose daily earning has stopped and they didn't have even, they couldn't earn 2 square meals. That was the worst impact. Yes, that is the bottom line impact. And top line impact is the economy is getting affected because only what we were buying was food and maybe medicines. We were not shopping to best of our clothes. We were not shopping to footwear. We were not shopping to luxuries. Everything came down to standstill. So barring these two extreme impacts, none of these two group of people were speaking. Neither that group where economy was impacted, nor this group where food was impacted. The rest of us, all our mental health was getting impacted. Isn't it? Only that middle group where probably the salaries were coming to banks. Maybe after some time we came to know that there is a cut also happening. Only those people were getting impacted. And talking about mental health, come back. Let us analyze. Let's see what are the basic impacts. Let us analyze. Take a fraction of a second and analyze the situation of COVID-19 era. Lockdown started. What was the main impact on those people who were earning daily wages or the economy at higher level where all the businesses came to standstill? Food and shelter became the major concern, the only concern for everyone. And then health, there was a fear we should not catch COVID-19. And then came the emotional and social needs, where these are the ones which are highlighted to highest level. Once I'll close my talk, I'll probably bring out the situation or probably the analysis where you will find probably this was the best era for those people who brought it and projected it as worst. Now, what was the impact? As I said, the impact was we should not catch this disease. And then, of course, there was a fear of our nears and dears, their well-being, their health concern, and then some unknown fear of future we all had. So now what should I do? When I say I do means every me, every self, every I should analyze this. What should I have done it? How should I have analyzed the situation? And what should have been my course of action vis-a-vis what had been my course of action? What is the thought process floating? There is something which is required, which every culture, every country holds close to heart, is the value system. Touch it. It will give you the best output to understand. And then it will come out as best impact onto the way you analyze the situation. When you are in worst situation, first thing you need to do is eradicate negativity. People will say it is easy said than done. But no, I believe and I strongly say it is not difficult to be done. Eradicate negativity. I'll give another example of military leadership. And since then till date, I follow that because I strongly believe when I tell something to be done by others, I should start following myself. You know, throughout the journey of armed forces, and when it starts, there is a, all those who know a bit about it, for Indian Army, when you go, there is a exam called Service Selection Board, SSB. When you go for this exam, this is a process for 4 days where you are tested for various aspects of your personality. And at one task, I just want to mention one task is a sand model exercise where it is not a sand model. You got to create your own model. Now, what is that model? In that model, you are put into a situation which actually, practically, if you see, seems to be impossible. I'll just give you hypothetical example. Suppose you're traveling from morning, you have to reach a particular destination and appear for exam of your lifetime, which is going to give you a great shot in your life. You're on the way. While on highway, you see a vehicle broken down where these people are not able to find. It is a secluded kind of place where these people are not finding any way out to travel. And when you stop your vehicle, interact with them, and you find out this is a cricket team which is going to play a match somewhere. You think, hello, am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible. I just posted your picture so people can easily understand that.
Hello.
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
All of a sudden, the platform changed. So I was wondering. Fine, fine. Right, right. Sorry, I'll take it forward. And then the situation, then you try to help out that team. You think so, and then you move towards a nearby village, and you find out there is a factory where a poisonous gas is leaking. You pick up your phone and you realize it is just 10% left. In the meantime, you get a call from home that your mother met with an accident and you are the only one who's supposed to take care of her. So this kind of situation, you got to give a solution. Isn't it sounding totally impractical for you? Or maybe you can focus on to your main task and leave everything aside. But there, the judgment happens for your involvement, giving importance to every task, prioritizing and still attending to every task for best of the output. There, it taught me how to handle, and that's how I'm connecting the situational leadership to this COVID era. And now we are going to analyze how do we use this analysis and analyze it further. Coming down to this situation, as I said initially, we all felt that the big impact is there on our mental health, on our hygiene, on our daily routine, on our salaries, on our normal life, or on our health. Number one, on your health. You cannot go out. You cannot do your exercise. Do a bit of exercise at home. Number two, there were concerns on to if educationists are there, they would vouch for it. There were concerns about, they will not, parents are not going to pay for school fee. And then it was online classes. Then the concern came no activities. Then there were online activities. Then the concern came that screen time is too much. Children are getting impacted and affected. My question to them was, if you are locked down inside the house, there is no such activity, what you or your children would have been doing? Probably most of us were onto televisions, onto gaming, or onto social media. It is the attitude, gentlemen and ladies. It is just the attitude where we need to move on depending upon our analysis, whether we get stuck up or move further to take care of the situation. Now coming on to mental health thing. If we cannot take care of mental health of our own self and our nears and dears, and we start raising it as an issue, What do we do to the surroundings and the system and surround situations around us? Friends, all of us have different order of impacts, different orders of hierarchy of achievements. And it is me and myself, the inner circle, my close family, the second circle, my nears and dears and relatives and friends, the third circle, my community, the fourth circle, my surroundings, the fifth circle, and my nation, the sixth circle.
Ma'am, are you there?
The problems in inner circle will decrease automatically. There is a need of using situational leadership here. But on whom? First, on your own self. Use the situational leadership on yourself. Okay, you are in this situation, COVID-19 era. Okay, COVID-19 era, what are the problems? I am getting impacted, I'm a daily wage earner, or my salary is getting impacted, or my child is having too much of screen time, or I'm not having social interaction, or I'm not able to physically meet my nears and dears. Are these problems so grave that we cannot find solution? I'm sure we can. If we can, then what is depression? I don't understand. Depression comes when we are not able to handle our own selves. Depression comes when we are not finding ourselves capable to take care of the situation we are in. And there comes the requirement of the situational leadership, the applicability of situational leadership, where we not only can take care of ourselves within inner circle, but move to the outermost circle and take care of the surroundings, to the people, to the world across. How do we do it? Again, coming back to the previous points, have adaptability. Every day is not same. Maybe yesterday you were in a different mode. Maybe yesterday you were having different facilities. May not be having it today. What do you have today? Analyze, count your positives, then negatives. When you count more of your positives, your negatives will start raising heads. There is somebody, number of quotes were coming onto this, that draw a line, make this line smaller without drawing it, without using pen or pencil. Make this line smaller without using pen or pencil or eraser. How will you do it? Draw a bigger line in front of it. Similarly, when life tells you to draw, make a line smaller than the existing line without using pen, pencil, or eraser, draw a bigger line. Draw a bigger line using situational leadership. Apply it on yourself. Apply on yourself in the innermost circle and aim at the outermost circle. I'm sure everything will be taken care of. And then, for every problem, take it as a task, that SAND model task. I do it. Honestly, I do it. Though it becomes difficult because when you are in a tense mood, it difficult to
Ma'am, we couldn't able to hear you
the
properly.
situation. But put yourself into a situation where you are handling a SAND model, as I handled in SSB. Is it better now? Is it better? Is it better?
Ma'am, still sound is cracking actually. Is there any network issue?
There is some network issue. Just this. Yeah, it seems. Just give me a moment.
Sure, sure.
Is it better?
Yes, now it's better. Ma'am, continue. I will, if there is an issue, I will let.
Is it all right? All right. Please let me know. Yeah, yeah. And now another thing, just two major things which are left to connect. When you find a possible solution, when you analyze a situation and you enlist number of solutions, then keep reviewing in between. Is it correct? If it is correct, yes, move forward. If not, come back to step one. Major thing which is required to be taken care of, which we all fear of, failure. If I do this, will I be able to succeed or not? There is something which is called power of zero. Have we ever heard it before? Power of zero is overcoming all the failures. Just think of the worst. If I do this, what worse can happen? Worst can happen is I'll catch COVID-19.
Sorry, ma'am. Could you please check your internet connectivity? Because yes, voice is actually cracked and couldn't able to hear you, ma'am.
All right, last thing I'll connect. Anyways, I was about to close down. Am I audible now?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
I'll go a little slow and I'll connect to the last thing which I was talking. That is power of zero. Power of zero is that just overcome all your fears. Think of the worst and move towards the best. Analyze, do the needful, work in the innermost circle, but work towards the outermost circle so that you don't worry about your fears. And let me tell you, your fears will not survive. There is a saying that when you are not capable, help others. When you get stuck up, look up to others. When you are finding yourself in a difficult catch 22 situation, think that how can you help others to overcome such situations. And I'm telling you all can find a solution not only for yourself but set an example for others too. So that is what situational leadership is all about. Situational leadership in life, situational leadership in management, and most important is when we talk about COVID era, there is nothing wrong, friends. This COVID era, let me tell you, the group barring the outer bracket, that is the industries and all those who are actually managing the economies of the world, and the lower bracket when people were striving for food. Other than these two brackets, rest all of us inside these two brackets were most comfortable. This time was never there and it will never come that you all and we all are there with our families, nears and dears, spending time and earning money. The bank account is getting enriched, maybe a little less, maybe there are cuts, but then we our needs are taken care of and we are spending quality time. Every week we work for weekend, isn't it? And here every day was a holiday for us. And we are talking about stress, we are talking about depression, we are talking about lockdown. I think this is a bliss. Mother Earth has been nurtured because of this. Lot of factories, lot of pollution has been stopped. I think this virus had come to give enlightening to all the human mankind that please rise. Nothing is small. I am small virus, but I can shake the world. Nothing is permanent because anything can be shaken by anything. So think of good, do good, and simultaneously take situation in a positive way, analyze it, and handle it in a best possible way so that you can help others, you can be a strength to the system rather than burden the system with your problems, small things like mental health, the effects, negative effects of lockdown and whatnot. I think that is all from my side. I would like to hear from you all now, if at all there are some queries.
Aishan, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Bharadwaj. And I came to know so many things actually. And first of all, it's a powerful session I have ever had in this webinar series. Though there are some drawbacks of our technology, and I'm really thankful that it's almost night in Malaysia and you are giving lecture with this powerful presentation. So I think we have some questions from our present participants. Shikha would like to say yes, powerful session indeed. Mohammed Murshid from Sri Lanka. Yes, of course, you can ask the question. You are the first one. Yes, Murshid, would you unmute yourself and ask directly to Bharadwaj, ma'am?
Yeah. Well, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can.
All right. It's indeed a splendid time of having listened to you, madam. And that was indeed an awesome session.
Little bit louder, louder.
Give me some seconds. How about now?
Yes, yes.
Oh, awesome. Well,
Yeah, better.
yeah. Well, that was indeed an awesome session, madam, to have listened to your enthusiastic presentation. And that indeed enlightened my knowledge as to leadership quite a bit. And quite moreover, I do have some, it's not indeed a set of questions, rather I would make some additional points to a contextual this leadership verbalization. You can just do comment on that about the exactitude of my explanations. That's what I'm is that, would that be okay, madam? Is it clear for you?
You're most welcome. As I said in the beginning, I'm there to learn. Please.
Yeah, quite well. The I've been a leadership trainer as well in different context of youth development, and in my personal account, I do find in terms of leadership skills, there are quite a few. There are tens of theoretical existence as to leadership skills as well as theories on this global platform on the earth, and nevertheless, we do find. There are some practical elements in order that we do make it very much into practicum. For instance, if we do take socio-emotional intelligence, some a short while ago you did mention about the emotionality, the mental mind management and the like, and it does have some inclination for socio-emotional intelligence quite a lot. And this socio-emotional intelligence is very much of a substantial element when it comes to leadership skill. Hence, it's indeed of pivotalness in order to make it very much effectual, in order to have very much positive socio-emotional intelligence in the minds of our leaders. Then, given the condition that anyone would have this positive socio-emotional intelligence, or rather, in other words, when we are substantially or positively, prodigiously, socio-emotionally intelligent enough, we can make exert, or rather, we can make influential in terms of our leadership skills as well as our talents in any context, regardless of what that be. For instance, that can be the COVID or non-COVID situations. Given the condition that we would have a proper socio-emotional intelligence as well as other intelligent elements, we can make out a very positive leadership skills in terms of any organizational or non-organizational context. For instance, if we do, there are quite a couple of examples when it comes to this, because socio-emotional intelligence is something very much tethered to your emotionality. Emotionality is not just your self-compassion or self-kindness or self-empathy that you have, what you would exert to your environment, your neighborhoodal people would also indeed make an impartial for your socio-emotional intelligence. This socio-emotional intelligence is something that would fall under the spectral title known as multiple intelligence. This multiple intelligence is something that's taking or dominating the whole entire world, because there are so many hundreds of programs that are being run across the planet on the title of multiple intelligence, and that particular multiple intelligence has to be there in the minds of our youthful leaders. This multiple intelligence can be very much converged into many different theories. Even the existing theories can be made very much in collaboration with what is known as this multiple intelligence. The socio-emotional intelligence is something what we find as one elementality that can fall under the umbrella phrase of multiple intelligence, and it's indeed a talkable title like over many hours. Nevertheless, due to the time constraint, I don't want to make it, because I do have to allow our fellow speakers as well in order to come out of their perceptions. And that is indeed my mental verbalization, madam. You can speak out here the perceptivity as to my pointological factors as well.
Thank you, Mr. Murshid. It was value addition because thanks for reminding me. Once you start speaking, you tend to miss on to something which, of course, I thought of. And thanks for giving me this opportunity onto my missed content. Socio-emotional intelligence, and like initially it used to be IQ, which was most important. Then it came social intelligence and emotional intelligence, which are very important these days to understand the entire world and move forward. And we call it SQ and EQ now. There is one more thing which we don't call, but we need to call now is AQ. That is adversary quotient, which we all need to learn and understand. That will help us to analyze any situation. And I'm sure literature will come up onto that as well. What is that which we are missing on to understand and we are missing on to teach our children? Adversary quotient, where how do we adapt using social emotional intelligence, as Mr. Murshid said, and then how do we adjust ourselves in adverse situations, so that no situation remains adverse. Because when we know how to adapt and adjust, no situation will remain adverse, and then we don't succumb, then we don't fall prey of any kind of such situations that I am depressed or I'm not able to cope up with situations and all. Wonderfully brought out. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely, ma'am.
So
Absolutely.
much, Murshid. Next, Rami, Dr. Rami from Clinical. You would like to ask some?
Yes.
Yes, wonderful voice of the children. Yes, always wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you
They are
hear me?
lovely. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Swati, can you hear me? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. My question is very simple and brief. Yeah. So there are troublemakers, critics in every institutions, right? When it comes to the leader taking a very decisive decision in a very specific situations, there are people who tend to criticize the leader, who tend to make a lot of allegations and criticize the leader. In that circumstances, how do you deal with those critics? How do you deal with those troublemakers in the institution as leaders?
Thank you for the wonderful question. I think all of us face this question, this actually in real lives. And I'll just give you my own example. From Indian Army switching on to education field, and what our Indian cinema used to show army officers as, kind of shouting loud and all that. So I joined my second school, and that was a trust run school and a social service kind of thing. I joined there. So they were the business clan, and one of the trustees, when he met me first time in one of the events, so I was very polite and nice to him and all. I don't know whether he was appreciating me or criticizing me. So he said, "Ma'am, you are from army. You don't look like, you're so polite and all. You don't look like from army." So you know what I said to him? "Oh my God, I forgot my gun at home. Otherwise, you would have recognized that." So he didn't know what to answer. Coming back to your question, gentlemen, there are three things which we need to understand. One is critics are everywhere and they try to bring us down. That is how. Now, actually, why do we try to bring us down? When I say bring us down, means we are up. So they try to bring us down because they are threatened by our existence. They are worried by our success, and that is the reason. Somebody who will appreciate you, other than if we are, suppose me, you, or everybody on this forum is there, we will appreciate each other when we are not impacting each other's success level. If we come on one platform, we will start criticizing each other. On social media also, most likes are there on a picture which is not good, and if you put achievement picture or if your award winning picture, people will even not look at it and see. If there is a provision that you see how many have seen it, everybody would have seen it, but they will not look at it. So there are three things to see it like. One is remain calm. We get disturbed, I get disturbed, all of us get disturbed, but to look calm to them, because it is always said that somebody will talk behind your back or try to criticize to pull you down when you are up, when you are higher than that person. Try to ignore and try to be passionate as much as you can to that person, and simultaneously draw a threshold. Because if you keep ignoring, then somewhere things will be taken for granted. So somewhere at one position you need to set one example. Suppose person X is trying to pull you down, talking behind your back, or doing negativity, in that case, number one, do your work so that you don't leave any unwoven thread in the other person's hand. Second thing is, be extra passionate and nice and normal and smiling. Your smile kills half of the enemies. And third thing is, there is a threshold. If the person reaches that threshold, maybe you ignored 3 mistakes, maybe I ignored 3 mistakes of people, and fourth one, I tell the person, damn it, now stay back. So then we have our own ways, devise our ways, and never look weak in front of that person, and never go loose onto any conversation, so that your conversation cannot be trapped and used somewhere else. There we are. I hope somewhere it's satisfied. Though there is no simple medicine.
Yes, yes, ma'am. I think from this webinar, I have lots of things to take away. And I'm really waiting from Smita ma'am, if you would like to say something on this presentation.
Voice is not audible.
Ma'am, a little bit louder. Yes, your voice is not audible. No, ma'am. Or else you can write your questions or observation. We have wonderful feedback already, and maybe I will send to Dr. Dinisha Bharadwaj ma'am with a compiled report. And yes, Dr. Aniruddha Burman would like to say that empathy is very important. What about sympathy whenever we are talking with some situations? But actually, sometimes it's not possible, because we can't imagine what is happening in the frontline zone in the border area. We can't imagine even the situation. So that time, sympathy would come first. So how would we convert our sympathy to empathy as a situational leadership?
When the thing is invisible, you're right, either sympathy or a negative response generally comes, because it is not the first hand information. It is the information travels to you. So using situational leadership, we got to somewhere come as close as possible to the given situation, because from a distance there are two things: worm's eye view and bird's eye view. Bird's eye view we all see from a distance. We are seeing, and we are seeing whatever is visible to us. But to come close to using situational leadership, we need to come to the situation as close as possible to analyze it correctly. But in the meantime, till then, wherever we are, because when we reach a particular level of wisdom is attained by all of us, and we can analyze the situation within the given framework, within the visibility level as to what it is, and start being empathetic with whatever analytical value we get. And then, of course, you say sympathy comes first, but simultaneously we start devising approaches, because there is never one approach which is applicable to any problem. So we need to devise, maybe when we are at a distance, we devise 10 approaches, we come close, we come to 7, 6, 5, and it is selection by rejection. You keep deleting, and the best possible approach we can use, because unless we analyze it closely, we cannot have one simple approach for it to be actually empathetic to the situation. So that is how we got to move. But then we cannot leave it. We start working at the point when we understand the situation, when we come to know about the situation at whatever level it is, howsoever far it is, we need to start working from that level.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And Dr. Aniruddha sir would like to say that presented truly like an officer from Indian Army. So thank you, Dr. Aniruddha. And all of them are like who have presented today, and we have almost over 3 participants with us. That's a great achievement, because in the previous webinars, we have only 16 or 17, and today I'm really grateful to Dr. Bharadwaj for this wonderful presentations. And we came to know so many facts regarding the situational leadership and how actually we can turn to managerial things to leadership. That is very important aspect for today's talk. Ma'am, I would like to know that how as a woman, that's my personal question to you. How as a woman in the Indian Army are being treated, that when they are going in the upper positions, we have lots of confusions, lots of misinformations, and like misleading points have been coming around as a citizen and as a layman. I'm not very much from the army background. I know very little things. So it's my personal query that how as a woman in the Indian Army would be treated when they are in the topmost position.
The question which probably I have tackled not only as a question but as a situation number of times is a question which you are putting it across to me. Ladies and gentlemen, Army, or for that matter forces in India years back was only men's platform, and it was men dominated, and the entry of women was a new thing. I don't know how it was received, neither I want to know, because for us it was something which was a trendsetter. It was a process for us to set up the trend. And I would like to tell you through my personal experiences, and not only my experiences. I have interacted with various armies across the world. I have interacted with people from US Army. I have interacted with people, officers and cadets from Sandhurst Academy, British Army, and almost feedback was similar. And then I would quote with a sentence from book of Kiran Bedi, which would probably summarize your question before I actually answer that. I read this book and I met her in one of the events. And she said,
Sorry, ma'am, but there's again a microphone issue or internet issue. Hello?
and I talked about job in a somebody.
Yes.
Is it audible?
Yes, now it's audible.
Is it audible? Yes. Right. So I was saying, somebody took it as glamour, somebody took it as barrier to their progress. Somewhere, some people took it as obstruction to their good peace postings. Many things, many thoughts. But actually, it was a challenge. And when there is a challenge, you got to hold your heart, you got to open your eyes, you get to strengthen your willpower and jump across. There, what all is needed, coming back to situational leadership, you got to have your content richness, your compatibility, your commitment, and your competence. With that, you got to ignore situations. Number of situations you got to ignore, number of times. If I have time, can I quote one live example for from the experiences I had. I was posted at Indian Military Academy. It was one of my first postings. And during break time, Indian Military Academy sends cadets and officers on expeditions and hikes. I was given the responsibility. I was very young. Somewhere I was even younger than few of the cadets also over there. And I was detailed as second in command in one of the expeditions where this gentleman, I don't know if he is listening somewhere to me or if wherever he is, he was as officer in charge. They call it OIC, officer in charge, and second in command is 2IC. I was detailed as 2IC of that expedition. Now, and when such situations are there, sometimes situations bring you out in worse of the situation. It was next day to Holi, we were supposed to travel. And somebody brought it to me that gentleman so and so was talking about it. Oh, they have detailed a girl. Now I have to take care of the cadets also, and I have to take care of this girl also. Had there been another young officer, probably he would have helped me to handle the situation, and I would have been free of all these tensions. He would have taken care of the situation. I heard it. Fine. Next day was Holi. We played Holi nicely with everything. Fell little sick, and then worst could have happened to anyone was, I started with my periods at night, and it was a trekking expedition. So with worse situation, I took medicines with me, and I thought I will die or I will prove him wrong. Though it was a small situation, but I decided I will collapse or I will prove him wrong. And I took medicine at night and I prayed to God, please help me, literally. Because the feeling I have got from him was through somebody, oh, they have detailed a girl and it is another responsibility on my head. Now the trekking started. I had fever at night, took medicine. Morning we started trekking. I started moving nicely. I was not very good in health that time. So, and I was moving with cadets somewhere on the top first block, and he was kind of somewhere in middle or somewhere at last. I was not that happily moving, but I was forcing myself to move that way. And that gentleman at end of the expedition said, "Oh my God," he was 35 years old only that time. He said, "My wife says you're growing old. I never realized, but today I think I have to say that I have grown old." That is how he covered up. I said, "No, sir, it is not like that. This was the thing I heard from you. So I thought I have to prove it. It was not that I was strong enough to go with the first batch, but I was striving to go with the first batch because you made some remarks like this." And he said, "I'm sorry, that was a lighter conversation, but I never meant that. That was a gentleman who was supposed to say that." So with this, I answer your question. You got to have commitment, you got to have competence, you got to have will, you got to ignore things, prove it, and get accepted. That's how we all did throughout
Thank
the
you so
journey.
much, ma'am. And I think it's not the story of the Indian Army. It's a story of each and every sector, wherever the women are, wherever the women is involved, some kind of criticize. I am not telling anything wrong about the mentality of the male counterpart. Sometimes we are having issues with the women itself, because women criticize women most of the times, so that can be seen. So it's not kind of a gender participation or gender issues, rather kind of a mindset of a people. Each and every sector in our working phases, we are facing this kind of things. Yes, Dr. Burman, would you like to share something?
Yeah, Captain Denisha.
God, there is so much echo going on.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's done.
Yes.
How far can a woman go up now in the army? Can you hear me?
Now in army, yes, I can hear you. In army now, because when I was there, it was only for 10 years, extended to 14 years later. Now
Yes.
in services, if you are little familiar about Indian Army, there are services and there are fighting arms. So except in fighting arms, women are there in services, including JAG branch, that is law branch, and because they have reached up to level of colonel as yet,
Yes,
and then
yes.
the promotions are open for them because permanent commission has been opened for women.
Okay, that's great. Yes. Where were you in Shillong? Where were you in Shillong?
Shillong, we were where?
Yeah, where? Because you
You're asking where or when?
Where?
Where? My husband is also a uniformed officer. He is with Border Security Force.
Okay.
So he was posted there, and that's how I stayed. It was after quitting my army, and I did my PhD from Nehu.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
how I was there in Shillong.
Even I am from Nehu. Yes.
Great. Actually, that's why Dr. Burman would try to connect.
Oh,
Because
great, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, I was also an SWIT NCC officer.
I did my PhD from. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I did my PhD from there on scholarship.
Okay. Oh, that's great. That's great. Thank you.
okay, Ms. Meeta ma'am would like to share something. Ma'am, there were 4 S in situational leadership. Is that the 4th S the same as transactional leadership? I mean the delegation. The 4th S.
So what is the question?
Transactional leadership.
Yeah.
Was in situational leadership, there were 4 S. Smita ma'am, that would be wonderful if you share the 4
Yes.
S. 4 S. So it's the kind of a similar thing that can be seen in transactional leadership.
Yeah. Are you able to speak, Ms. Smita?
Smita ma'am, can you unmute yourself and Ma'am, do you have earplug? Yes, please use that. Yes, please use that. No, I think there is issue in from your end. Anyway,
Still
I
not
think,
audible.
yeah, she's not audible. No, Smita ma'am, we can't hear you. Sorry, that already time is going to be ended soon. So hi to your daughter. Dinisha ma'am, your daughter is around.
Okay. She was trying to peep in. She was asking me.
Yes,
Okay,
hello.
right?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, ma'am. I'm fine, ma'am. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. We all are very happy.
She was trying to peep in. It had been a great forum, and I'm really enjoying a lot of informal connect. And I would submit honestly that I have been enriched with the kind of people around, and it's value addition for my life as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We have Jay from London. We have Murshid. We have Ramiz from Sri Lanka. So from India also, we have so many good resource person from, yes. Hello, Jeff. Hello. And we have so many resource person from all over the world. Actually, we are connected from Southeast Asia to London, within India, from Indore and other parts of the world. So we are already connected in this virtual world. And thank you so much, ma'am. Personally, it's my warm wish to you to bring back you in the next round of discussions, because we really need to know so many things from your experience. Because why we need to learn from Indian Army or any army, because they are facing so many challenges in their life, and with their experience, we are being motivated, we are getting energy from them. So that's a wonderful power packed session with you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I may not able to say goodbye to all of you, rather see you soon. So we will have our
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I'm just stop recording right now.